Is it possible to get all of your nutritional needs met just by eating a healthy diet? No. This one sentence has killed more people than all world wars combined. The false notion that it is in fact possible to secure all of the body's nutrient needs from food. You can't do it. It is a fool's errand. You will always fail if you attempt to do this on your own. You can't do it. But because medical doctors have no training in science-based, clinically verified, holistic medical nutrition, they have no conceptual awareness of this. It should be against the law for someone with an MD after their name to give you any advice whatsoever about anything having to do with nutrition. It should be against the law. But we put these people on such high pedestals, they'll tell us anything they want. They'll tell us that acupuncture is bunkus, even though a gazillion billion people in the world have used acupuncture successfully for the last 300 years. Arguably the second oldest system of medicine on the planet. Oh no, that stuff's no good. They'll tell you that chiropractic is no good. They'll tell you that taking vitamins just gives you expensive urine. How many times have you heard that? It should be against the law for these people to speak outside of their training. But they're so filled with hubris, they're so filled with arrogance, they are so full of themselves that they don't care. They think they're kings of the world, for goodness sake. And it's time we started holding their feet to the fire and putting them in their place. You don't need to be mean. You just need to ask them straightforward questions. Or quite frankly, what's better? Fire them. Just don't even go to see them anymore. Today I'm going to talk about type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, startling statistics. 347 million diabetics worldwide. This number is double what it was 30 years ago. And these numbers do not reflect the huge numbers of children who are obese and therefore at an increased risk to get type 2 diabetes. Now, medical experts have no idea why type 2 diabetes is on the rise. They are completely clueless about this. And they're completely clueless about it because they have no understanding of medical nutrition, which is a tragedy. Because in 1958, there was a medical doctor named Walter Mertz, MD, 1957. Walter Mertz did research, and he completely eliminated type 2 diabetes in mice with the chromium supplementation. The chromium is a mineral supplement. He completely eliminated it in mice with the chromium supplementation in 1957. Now, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, 90% of all Americans, of the soils in the United States, are deficient in chromium. So if chromium is related to healthy blood sugar metabolism, and the soil in this country doesn't have chromium in it, do you think that people in the United States are going to be deficient in chromium? Well, you bet they are. The only reason this isn't an even bigger epidemic is because we are eating food that comes from all over the world. So we'll eat, strawberries from New Zealand. We'll eat blueberries from England. We'll eat red grapes from Chile. We'll have salmon from Alaska, right? We eat food that comes from all over the world. So, therefore, the chances of our food having some of the nutrients in it are much greater than for people that only eat locally. And, of course, this, again, is what's happening to the Amish in southern Indiana, which is why they have such exorbitantly high rates of muscular dystrophy, because they only eat food that they grow, and their soil doesn't have any selenium in it. And when you're selenium deficient, your chromosomes get damaged, and you develop cystic fibrosis or muscular dystrophy because of a selenium deficiency in the blood of the pregnant mother. Type 2 diabetes is related to chromium and vanadium and a handful of other minerals. There are approximately 27 minerals that the body needs in order to metabolize blood sugar. Now, the reason that the MDs don't really give a crap about this is because one type 2 diabetic. Now, type 2 diabetes is a problem absorbing blood sugar that develops later on in your life. Type 1 diabetes develops often very early in life, and that is a failure of your body to produce insulin. If you have type 1 diabetes, your body, the cells in your body, they're in the pancreas, they're called the beta cells in the pancreas, have burned out, and they have completely lost their ability to produce insulin. Type 1 diabetics are insulin-dependent diabetics, and they have to inject insulin every day. But a type 1 diabetic can become a type 2 diabetic. We don't know of any, I don't know of any therapies that will stimulate the body to regrow new beta cells in the pancreas. Perhaps stem cell research can help in this regard, but that's years in the future, if at all. So type 1 diabetics are wedded to their insulin needle their entire life. But we can significantly reduce the amount of insulin that a type 1 diabetic needs to take by giving them medical nutrition. A couple of weeks ago, we had a young man on the show as a testimonial. His name is David. He's currently going to Loyola University, downtown Chicago. He's pre-med. He's a brilliant young man. He was able to reduce his insulin intake by over 75% in 3 weeks with one nutritional supplement, just one nutritional supplement that cost him $24 a month. Do you think he was happy? You're darn right he was happy. But type 2 diabetes, right, type 2 diabetes is much more prevalent now than type 1 diabetes. It's popping up all over the place. Type 2 diabetes is also referred to in the holistic medical circles as insulin resistance syndrome or syndrome X. And some of the symptoms of insulin resistance syndrome X and or type 2 diabetes, full-blown type 2 diabetes, are the following symptoms. You get really tired after you eat a meal, especially if that meal was loaded with carbohydrates or with stuff that was sweet. So you have a bowl of cereal, it's loaded with blueberries, or you have some pancakes and you load it up with syrup, or you drink a great big fruit smoothie, or you have a couple of cocktails, right, loaded with sugar. Alcohol, of course, is loaded with sugar. When you metabolize, when you consume these substances, if you have a problem with blood sugar, you're going to get very sleepy after you eat or drink these foods. Within 30 to 45 minutes of eating or drinking these foods, you're like falling asleep. That's the first symptom. The second symptom is you'll fall asleep easily at night, but you wake up in the middle of the night after only a few hours of sleep and you're wide awake. That's insulin resistance syndrome. Metabolic syndrome, it's also called syndrome X, and it is a drop-dead indication that you are on the brink of a big-time blood sugar problem. So the third symptom is that this is a more general and more vague symptom. You tend to gain weight around your abdomen. You know, some people gain weight in their butt. Some people gain weight in their hips. Some people gain weight in their legs. Well, if you gain weight in your abdomen, then it's possible that you have a problem with blood sugar metabolism. Now, the thing about blood sugar metabolism is, here's how it goes in a healthy person. You eat something that's got sugar in it. Now, there's sugar in your blood. Sugar, by the way, is the fuel that the body needs. Sugar is fantastic for your body. Sugar is not the Antichrist. Sugar is the gasoline that your body needs in order to function. The problem with sugar is how your body metabolizes it and or how much you're consuming, right? So eat something that's got sugar in it. Now there's sugar in your blood. In response to sugar being in your blood, your body secretes insulin. Your pancreas secretes insulin. All right, so now there's insulin in your blood. Insulin floats through the blood and binds to the cells in your body, and when insulin binds to a receptor site on a cell, it's like going up to somebody's front door and ringing the doorbell. You ring the doorbell, and then the kitchen door opens automatically. You ring the front doorbell, and the kitchen door opens to let the groceries in. You ring the front doorbell, the kitchen door opens to let the groceries in. That's how sugar enters into the cell. It can't just absorb through the cell wall. It has to go in through doorways, and it is the presence of the insulin which opens the door on the cell. But if you are minerally deficient, if you are nutritionally deficient, here's what happens. You eat something that's got sugar in it. Your body creates insulin. Insulin rings the front doorbell, but the kitchen door stays closed. So sugar piles up in the blood. Your body makes more insulin. Insulin rings the front doorbell. The kitchen door stays closed. Sugar piles up in the blood. Your body makes more insulin. The average type 2 diabetic has hundreds of times, so that might be an exaggeration, has a lot more insulin in their blood than a normal person does. And it is the sheer volume of insulin in the body, in the blood, which eventually forces the sugar, and the emphasis here is on the word force, forces the sugar through the cell wall, damaging the cell wall. Now, is this a good thing? No. Because when you damage cell walls, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day of every week, of every month, of every year, when you continually do this, it is only a matter of time until those chickens come home to roost, and this is why type 2 diabetics or type 1 insulin-dependent diabetics lose their toes, lose their feet, lose their fingers, lose their hands, lose their legs, go blind, because it's the damage created over time to the cells of their body by insulin. Now, what does an MD give a type 2 diabetic? Insulin! And I'm the quack. You've got to be kidding me. What do we do to support and promote healthy blood sugar? Well, we do what Dr. Walter Merz showed us to do in 1957. We provide the body with all of the minerals. Specifically, minerals is what the body needs in this case. Chromium and vanadium and about 25 other plant-derived minerals, trace minerals. When your body has all of the minerals present, the insulin rings the front doorbell and the door to the kitchen opens, lickety-split, no problem, problem solved. I have witnessed hundreds of people who had type 2 diabetes, frank, obvious diagnosis of type 2 diabetes with the blood work to prove it, get on board with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition protocols, and within 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 weeks at the most, normal blood sugar levels. By the way, one type 2 diabetic treated by the medical industry for 30 years, which is the industry standard, will profit the medical industry between $300,000 and $400,000. So why on earth are they going to fix it when they can manage it and make that much money? Medicine is not results-driven in the United States. You think that it is, you wish that it was, you hope that it is, but it's not. It's a for-profit, out-of-control monster. It is juggernaut, and it will chew you up and spit you out. The leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical bills. And the therapies that MDs offer don't work. I mean, you know, you cut yourself and you go to the emergency room and you have a little respect for those people, and that's a good thing. You're in a car accident, your son or your daughter's in a car accident, and they take care of them. They fix the broken leg, stop the internal bleeding. That's a good thing. And then you project onto them feelings of respect for all types of medical conditions, and they just don't deserve it, because they're only good for trauma and surgery when it's indicated. For everything else, they stink. So, you know, fire your MD. Do not go to them with a chronic health condition. For goodness sake, if you go to an MD and you have a type 2 diabetes, that's just silly. The only reason you do that is because you don't know any better. It's the only reason you would do that. And by the way, that liquid plant mineral supplement that you hear me pitching on the commercials, you know how much that is a month for one bottle? It's $19. Did I say 119 or 219? No. Did I say 79? No. It's $19. For goodness sake, you go to a hockey game, you go to a baseball game, you go to a football game, you're going to spend $19 for a hot dog and a beer. Give it a try, ladies and gentlemen. One bottle of the plant-derived, organic, longevity plant minerals at $19 a bottle will change your life. It will make a noticeable difference in how you feel. Take 1 ounce twice a day for 14 days. You can purchase it at fireyourmdnow.com. Right there, go to the online store button and click on the liquid plant minerals, plant-derived minerals, and buy 1 bottle. Buy 2, buy 3, buy 10. When you take that supplement, it will be the first time in your life that your body has been completely mineralized. And minerals are 2/3 of your body's nutrient needs. When you fill that tank up, you feel it. And this is what drives us forward. Results. We are 100% results-driven. And that's what makes us so effective. We're going to go right to the phone now. Carl, I think, is online with a question about calories. Carl, thanks for calling. You're live with Dr. Glidden.
Dr. Glidden, thank you for taking my call. How the heck are you?
Pretty good, Carl, and every day I get a little bit better.
Yes, life is good. I love your website. I love the info on it. I'm trying to get through all of it. I'm with Alex, and I signed up with Alex as an associate. So I've got one question before I get into the calorie thing. On the opt-in, I listened to you talking to a chiropractor last Friday, and you talked to her about opting in on your mailing list so that it would be they got something that's coming together, a group of people coming together through that.
So here's what we can do to help you with your business building stuff, right? Of course, Longevity has a lot of tools for business builders. They have phone calls, and they have webinars, and they have all kinds of stuff available all the time. They have lots of training. You have to kind of search for it initially on their website. The website isn't 100% dialed in on the Longevity side yet because of the merger with FDI and Longevity. By the end of the summer, it's going to be one seamless, fantastic thing. So you have to hunt around a little bit for the training tools on the Longevity website once you're a business builder. But in addition to that, what you can do is go to fireyourmdnow.com, and if you purchase a subscription to my webinars, it's $5 a month, right? You also have access to a page on the website called Training Tools, the Longevity Training Tools. And on that page, I've put together 5 or 6 different little video tutorials that walk people through the steps necessary to have a successful longevity business. Because there is a way to talk to people about this which will make them run away from you. And there's a way to talk to people about this which will make them run towards you. And in order to have a successful longevity business, the enrollment technique, the information dissemination has to be easy. It has to be quick, it has to be easy, and it has to be effective. On those training tools pages, which you get as just an extra added addition to your webinar subscription, you can find all that there. Here at Fire Your MD Now, we practice self-care reform, ladies and gentlemen, because healing is easy. It is easy to help your body recover from chronic illness, because guess what? Your body wants to recover from chronic illness, and the only thing that it's lacking is the raw materials which it needs to recover from a chronic illness. If you're building a house and you have the blueprints and the permits and the carpenters and the lumber and the nail guns, but no nails, nothing's getting built that day. You need the nails. Your body needs 91 essential nutrients, and it is impossible to get them all from food. So it is only a matter of time until something breaks because you've run out of one or more of the raw materials. And in the case of type 2 diabetes, it's about 27 minerals that your body has just exhausted its supply of. So guess what? Your blood sugar starts to get funky. Your MD tells you it's genetic, and then over the course of 30 years, bilks $400,000 out of your bank account. Gotta love it. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. of A., a for-profit medical monster, is out of control in this country, and it wants your money. We're going to go right back to Carl now. Carl, are you still with us?
Yes, I am, and thank you for taking the time with me. I really appreciate it. When you're on fireyourmdnow.com, if you just mouse over the login button, it gives you a drop-down box, and the webinars pop up and the Longevity Training Tools pop up. It's the Longevity Training Tools page that I want you to pay attention to, because there's lots of information there that will help you kind of up the ante with your business. Okay, and I have been there, and I was just wondering if there was something else that I was missing. And what you have on that web page is incredible, the amount of information, and I've been passing it on to some other people, and it's just phenomenal. And people are getting it, and they really understand what you're trying to say. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to come along.
Okay, great. Now, starting in August, I'm rolling out a completely different site that's got way more information. And it's going to be the same stuff, but a lot of other stuff added to it. And it's going to be very easy to use, going to be very easy to navigate, and it's going to be able to provide lots more information that's really going to help to free up the bottleneck that exists in the Longevity Company with the dissemination of the health recovery protocols, right? So look forward to that. That's coming out shortly. Maybe it's even going to be available next week, but by August 1st at the very latest. All right. So, Carl, you have a question about calories, I think?
That is correct. Now, I hear you talking a lot about the vitamins and everything, but I really want to know about the food that we're taking in and how important it is. I understand that it's going to be important to stay away from pesticides and staying away from the hormone-based beef and all that kind of stuff to a certain degree. But how important is it to really go with the total natural, total hormone-free? The money aspect of it in the beginning is a little bit expensive to where if we can, how detrimental is it?
It's not necessary to go organic. It's not necessary to, be GMO free. It's not necessary, regardless of what you've heard. Dr. Wallach was in charge of $25 million of federally funded research from 1970 to 1982. 12 years. They did 26,000 autopsies, 10 million blood chemistries and histopathologies. It was a gigantic body of work, the result of which is a publication that's now in the Smithsonian Institution as a national treasure. That research project, which was directed by Dr. Wallach, was initiated in response to the Minamata disaster in Japan, which is where thousands of people were poisoned by mercury. Everybody got sick. A lot of people died, and all of the kids that were born thereafter were like Frankenstein, bad, like 5 arms, 17 fingers, 1 eye, half a brain. Man, it was bad, man. And the scientific community figured out it was mercury that did it. And it sent a shockwave through the scientific community because the scientists thought to themselves, holy crap, if mercury can do this, well, what about lead and PCBs and hydrochlorofluorocarbons and all this other crap, right? This was a potential human extinction event, and they had to figure out the net negative effects that pollution had on the health of living biological systems. So what did they do? Who did they choose to save humanity from extinction? Dr. Oz? No. Dr. Wallach. They put Wallach in charge of this because he had more experience with this type of thing than any other doctor on the planet at the time. So 12 years later, $25 million later, 26,000 autopsies and 10 million blood chemistries later, the result of the research clearly showed that pollution was irrelevant in its net negative effects on the health of living organic systems unless it was a massive exposure. If there was a big exposure, then it was a big problem, like in Minamata or Chernobyl, right? Or, with Silkwood. Remember the movie Silkwood? There was a chemical company. It was similar to Minamata. This chemical company dumped all this crap in the river, and it infiltrated the groundwater and gave thousands of people cancer because it was a gigantic dose. But the research clearly showed that the stuff that's, in the food and in the water and in the air, normally, the body can handle that. But what the research uncovered unintentionally, which makes it all the more compelling, is that they uncovered massive, gigantic, huge physiological problems from not enough nutrition. So on a relative scale of things, worrying about pesticides in your food or GMOs or whatever is irrelevant. I mean, it's like worrying about a mosquito bite on your left leg while your right leg is broken in 3 places and one of the bones is sticking through the skin. You need to fix that first. So on a relative scale of things, not having enough calcium, not having enough vitamin B, not having enough minerals, not having enough amino acids, not having enough essential fatty acids in your body is the cause of all chronic illness. And everybody that dies of, not from trauma, everybody that dies of a chronic disease dies of a nutrient deficiency. So what's much more important is to stop eating the 10 bad foods. You stop eating those foods, period. Nobody gets away from that. Everybody has to stop eating those foods, number one. Number two, everybody has to fill their nutritional tank with the 90 essential nutrients. You know, the Healthy Start Pack, or the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack, or the Bone and Joint Healthy Pack, or whatever. The 90 essential nutrients appropriate for your body weight. When you provide your body with all the nutrients that it needs in bioavailable recipes, and you've stopped eating the 10 bad foods, it does not matter what else you eat. It doesn't, because your body will have the ability to handle the pesticide stress. It'll be able to handle the crap, the little bit of crap that's in the water. It can handle it if you're nutrified. The first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th things to pay attention to are how much nutrition is in your body. And then, once you have all of those bases covered, and it's automatic in your day-to-day routine, you know, then, if you want to, you can start leaning more towards organic, leaning more towards, you know, non-GMO and whatever. But in the meantime, man, if you run out of calcium, you're going to suffer and die. If you run out of vitamin B1, you're going to suffer and die. You run out of antioxidants, you're going to suffer and die. It is much more important to dial that stuff in than to worry about the GMOs. Carl, thanks for the call. Continue to do a good job here. You're one of our soldiers in the field, and we are depending on you to bring this message of science-based health recovery through medical nutrition to your friends, family members, and church members. Thank you for your dedication, and thank you for what you do. Brian is next. Brian's calling with prostate question. Brian, you are live with Dr. Glidden. Thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Doctor. I had a question with regard to thallium, and I was wondering if you could address the myth. I don't know if it is a myth. I just want you to confirm this with me, of the toxicity of it if you take high doses. The reason I ask this is I have a prostate issue. My urologist is wanting to take a biopsy. He hasn't determined that I have cancer. Of course, I assume he wants to do the biopsy to determine that. He says he's got about a 4-millimeter shape there on one side. So Dr. Wallach had said I should go somewhere else to get a second opinion. So I was just getting a call into you to see what your opinion is.
Okay, well, you know, there was just a very interesting article that was released, it was about a month ago in USA Today, and it outlined the crazy statistic that all of the testing that's happening now in conventional medicine, you know, the biopsies and the ultrasounds and the MRIs and the CTs and all of this diagnostic discovery that they're doing is actually leading to worse patient outcomes. Because, you know, if you look hard enough, you're going to find something. I mean, if you poke around in somebody's house long enough, you're going to find something that needs to be fixed. Doesn't really need to be fixed, but, you know, you probably should fix it. Well, maybe not. So the more diagnostic stuff that happens, there's a fine line between actually having an appropriate diagnostic array and just having stuff that really they're only doing to pad the bill and to try to just find something that they can treat, right? Because that's their whole thing. Got to treat it. Got to treat it. They're like kids in a candy store, really, when it comes to you, especially if you have a good insurance policy. Now, and you should reference, just do a Google search for prostate treatment Europe. Put those words into the Google search, prostate treatment Europe, and you will. There's a gigantic difference between how European doctors deal with prostate issues and U.S. doctors. U.S. doctors operate on the prostate 500 times more frequently than they do in Europe. Often with Europe, their opinion is to just wait and watch, and that's the accepted standard of care, because it's socialized medicine there. It's not for-profit. In the U.S., it's for-profit. So they're going to do as many procedures as they can possibly do to as many people as they can possibly do it to. And I'm not exaggerating. This is what they do. So if I had a problem with my prostate, here's what I would do. I would take 12 selenium a day, 12, 4 with breakfast, 4 with lunch, 4 with dinner. That's Longevity's ultimate selenium. Now, I would also encourage you to go to Dr. Wallach's website, DRJ, like David, Roger, Jonah, Wallach, WALLACH.com, DRJWallach.com, and purchase his audio CD called Selenium. And if you can't find it on that website, I think I got an email last week that it wasn't there. You can find it on another website, the letter Y, Team, T-E-A-M, Tools, YTeamTools.com. The name of the audio CD is Selenium, and it is an interview with Gerhard Schrauser, who's a professor emeritus at UC San Diego. Gerhard Schrauser is one of the guys that nominates people for the Nobel Prize. It is an interview with Gerhard Schrauser and a longevity representative, Blake Graham, that just runs through the whole selenium thing from start to finish. There is no known toxicity to human beings with selenium. Selenium is an essential nutrient. It is toxic to some animals like horses and cows, and this is where the disconnect came. Right? If an MD tells you that selenium is toxic, that's like telling you that your pneumonia was caused by an evil spirit. He just does not know what he's talking about. It is possible to take too much selenium. If that happens, you get garlicky breath or split fingernails, or your hair starts to fall out a little bit. So if that happens, back off on the dosage a little bit. I take 12 a day, and life is good. Diane's calling with a question, I believe, about enzymes. Diane, welcome. You are live with Dr. Glidden.
Dr. Glidden, I heard you speaking about digestive enzymes a while back, and you said to make sure that you take them before meals because after meals they could maybe have an adverse effect. Can you tell me what the adverse effect would be?
Yeah, the adverse effect is you're going to grow 11th and 12th finger and a third eye, and you're going to grow, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches. It's bad. No, okay. I'm only kidding. All right, so there are two phases to human digestion. The first phase is the acid phase, and the second phase is the alkaline phase, right? The body has polarities that are happening in it all of the time, left and right, acid and base, and I can't think of any others off the top of my head. The whole circadian rhythm thing, awake and asleep. Well, the acid phase happens first, and the digestive enzymes support and promote the acid phase of digestion. So if you take the digestive enzymes at the end of the meal, you are going to increase the acidity of the alkaline phase of digestion, and that's how you're going to mess it up. So the best way to take any digestive enzyme, unless it's specifically to support and promote the alkaline phase, and I've never seen any that do that, quite frankly, the best way to take a digestive enzyme is 15 to 20 minutes before you sit down to eat. Now, most people aren't that disciplined or, can't remember that much. I can't even do that. So taking the digestive enzymes at the beginning of the meal will support and promote the acid phase of digestion, which is extremely important, and that's why we do it that way. So two phases to the human digestive condition, the acid phase and the alkaline phase, and the enzymes, the digestive enzymes, support the acid phase, and that's why we don't want to do them at the end of the meal. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense. I didn't realize that it was that complicated.
Well, it's kind of it's like the 1-2 punch, right? It's like the two-step, acid and then alkaline, and it's like that. And this is why a little bit of knowledge goes a long way, Diane, right? I mean, a little bit of knowledge goes a long way here. So now in Europe, they are of the habit in eating their salad at the end of the meal, right? And salad with salt and pepper on it, or, all of those vegetables promote an alkaline promote an alkaline condition in the human digestive tract. So this is one of the reasons why they do that. Kind of unwittingly, they just intuitively understood that, well, I feel better if I eat my salad at the end of the meal rather than at the beginning. So that's how that whole thing happened. Diane, sounds like you now are the smartest girl in class. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on a mission here to change the way that medicine is practiced in the United States by promoting our message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition as quickly and as widely as is humanly possible. We're generating a grassroots network, a grassroots coalition of the informed. So if you like what you're hearing on this radio show, tell everybody in your world about it. Put it on Facebook. Put it on LinkedIn. You know, tell everybody about it. For goodness sake, it's free. And if somebody in your circle of life isn't free from 4 to 5 Central Time, they can just go to fireyourmdnow.com or gcnlive.com, click on the link for the show, and listen to the podcast anytime for the 24 hours after the show ends. You can just listen to it from start to finish, 24/7 on the World Wide Web. So spread the word, ladies and gentlemen. I need your help in order to populate this message, because the only reason that we're suffering in this country with chronic health issues is because we have gone to the wrong doctor, which is why I encourage you to fire your MD now. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I'll see you tomorrow.